We know that as we grow, the hurdles will be more. Each time we are washed away, we bounce back to the shore. We know we lead the way, keeping odds at bay. See the sunrise tomorrow, inspire the world to follow. हम सीधे जहाँ GIS है करते हमारे.
Okay, I am Sumanto Kundu, Assistant Professor of Department of Electrical Engineering, Narula Institute of Technology. So we will discussing, rather we have started module number 2 in the course curriculum of Electric Drive E701, and the topic we were discussing is selection of motor power rating. So in today's class, and this is the last class of selection of motor power rating section, so today we will finish this topic, selection of motor power rating. So today we will start our lecture number 7. Okay, and before we go further into details of our class, this is our objective or course outcome. Okay, so let's start selection of motor power rating part 3. Okay, so in this class we will discuss a short time duty and intermittent periodic duty. So this is my topic of discussion. Okay, so let's first start short time duty. Okay, so let's start first short time duty. So we have already learned short time duty. We have seen that in short time duty the machine operates for a small period of time. The running period is very small. We have seen this in our earlier classes. Okay, so this is the characteristics of short time duty, and we have know that motor operating time T operating is less than heating time constant. Heating time constant. So what does it mean? That mean it cool down to the ambient temperature before operate again. So this is the characteristics of short time duty. So it will rise, and then this is the heating period, this is the heating period, and this is the cooling period. So what we can see that it will heated up, and then as the operating time is less than heating time constant, so it will cool down to ambient temperature before it is operate again. Okay, so now let motor continuous duty power rating is PR. PR is my motor continuous duty power rating, and this motor is subjected to a short time duty load of PR. So the motor continuous power rating is PR, and it is subjected to a short time duty power of PR. Okay, so if it is subjected to a short duty load of PR, so that means this is my, the B is my operating characteristics, okay, and theta par is my maximum permissible value. Theta par is my maximum permissible value, okay. So motor temperature rise, suppose this theta, so it is, so this theta is much less than theta par. So what does it mean? The motor is under utilizing. So the motor is under utilizing. Now, so as it is underutilizing, that means that motor can be overloaded. Motor can be overloaded. Now, motor can be overloaded by a factor k, where k is greater than 1. So, this k value would be such that the maximum temperature rise just reach this theta par value, just to reach, not, it will not cross the value of theta par, it will just reach the permissible value. So when the duration of running period, so this is my running period, this is my rest period of the duty cycle. So when the duration of running period in a duty cycle with power kpr is tr, so the running period is basically tr, and corresponding power to this running period is kpr, because I have told that I can overload the motor by a factor k, okay. So what we can write? We can write from the basic equation. We know that the basic equation was, which we have studied earlier, that temperature theta equals to theta ss into 1 minus e to the power minus t by tau plus theta 1 e to the power minus t by tau, okay. Now this theta 1 is my initial temperature rise. So in this case, short time duty period, this theta 1 is not exist, theta 1 is 0, there is no initial temperature rise, so this term is 0. So this equation will become theta par equals to theta ss into 1 minus e to the power, now time is tr, so tr by tau. So from this equation we will get this theta ss by theta par equals to this, okay. Now in this equation theta ss is the steady state temperature rise if the motor is delivers a power of kpr in continuous duty, whereas theta par is also the steady state temperature rise when the motor operate with a power pr or continuous base. So if it is operate with a power kpr, then this is the steady state value of the steady state temperature of the motor, and if it is operate for kpr, so only pr, it will be theta par, okay. Now if the motor losses for power pr and kpr is p1r and p, for pr it is 1 pr, for kpr it is 1 ps. So you can write down that theta ss by theta pr equals to p1s by p1r equals to this, from this equation, because theta is proportional to the power, more the power, more the temperature rise, okay. So now what is my PIR. PIR means my constant loss plus load dependent loss, that is core loss and rotational loss plus copper loss. So if we take common in this equation, PC as we can take PC as common. So it will become PCU I will take common, so it will become PC by PCU plus 1, and PC plus PCU we can take as alpha, so equation will become PCU alpha plus 1. Okay, and we know that PC is the load dependent constant, that is the core loss and rotational loss, that is core loss and rotational loss, and this is my load dependence loss, that is I square R loss. Now what is my PIS? PIS is related to the power K PR. So we know that power is dependent on current. Actually power is proportional to current. P equals to VI. Okay, or we can say AC power equals to P equals to VI cos phi. So now the losses is I square. So PCU is the value of copper loss for power PIR, and which is corresponding to the power PR. So what is my PCU for PIS? The power is become now KPR, so it will become the KPR by PR times, but as it is square, I square, so a square will arise here. So it will become PC plus K square PCU. Okay, so now PIS equals to PC plus K square PCU. So again, if in this equation I will take PCU common, so it will become PC by PCU plus K square, and PC by PCU is my alpha, so it will become P1 is equals to PCU alpha plus K square. So now we know that theta SS by theta par equals to 1 by 1 minus e to the power minus TR by tau. So again this is equals to P1S by P1R. Okay, we know that P1S by P1R, and what is my P1S? This is PC equals to PCU into alpha class K square, and what is my PIR? P1R. P1R equals to PCU 1 plus alpha, so it will cancel each other, so it will become alpha plus K square by alpha plus 1 equals to this 1 by 1 minus e to the power minus TR by tau. So if you take solution of this equation, we will get the value of K. So this is the value of K, and this K is my objective of determination because it is the overloading factor. So this is K. Okay, so calculation of overloading factor, this K, which can be calculated when this value of PCU and PC is known, that is the value of constant power and load dependent power is known. And if it is not known separately, so if it is unknown, then the total loss is assumed to be only proportional to power square. So alpha is assumed to be 0 because alpha is nothing but PCU by PC, and now this is unknown. That means the power part is proportional to square. So this has no existence. So this alpha will become 0. So alpha will become 0. But you have to keep one thing in mind. K is subjected to the constraint imposed by maximum available current. So it should not cause the current, allowable current for DC motor, and the breakdown torque limitation in case of induction motor or synchronous motor. So this is how we will calculate the overloading factor K for short time duty. Now we will determine the overloading factor for intermittent periodic duty. Okay. So now we will discuss for equivalent current, torque or power method for intermittent periodic load. Now we have seen that intermittent load has running period, then rest period, and then running period, and so on. So this running period is not enough, neither this rest period is not enough to heating up to the ambient temperature, to heating up to the steady state value. Neither the cooling period or rest period is enough to reach the ambient temperature. Now, whenever we have started our discussion on equivalent current, torque or power method, we have mentioned that during this period of operation the speed will remain constant, or if it is changed, the change should be the minor one. But if during the period of operation the speed changes in wide limits, so that will basically change the heating and cooling condition. So equivalent current, torque or power method we cannot employ. Now, so let us consider intermittent load where the motor is alternatively subjected to a fixed magnitude load of P R dash of duration TR. So P R dash for duration TR, and standstill condition, that is the rest condition, is TS. So this is my TS and this is my TR with a magnitude of load PR dash. Now, as motor is subjected to a periodic load after thermal steady state reach. So if we see this graph, so what I have told that this is the characteristics of intermittent load I have discussed earlier. So it will neither reach the steady state value nor it will reach to the ambient temperature, as we have seen in case of short time duty, because neither this heating period nor this cooling period is enough. So now after the thermal steady state is reached, the temperature rise will be fluctuating between the maximum value theta max and the minimum value theta min. So it is fluctuating in between theta max and theta min. If you see the graph, so this is theta min, so this is theta max. So this is the steady state condition or thermal steady state condition that is reached the temperature. Okay. Now for this kind of load, the motor rating should be selected that theta max should be less than equals to theta permissible. Okay, this condition has to be satisfied, and I have discussed in case of short time duty, theta per is the maximum permissible temperature rise. Now if we recall our basic equation of temperature, that is theta equals to theta ss 1 minus e to the power t by tau plus theta 1 e to the power minus t by tau. So now what we can do, now from here we can write this equation, theta equals to theta max, that is the final temperature rise at the end of the running condition, and the initial condition instead of theta 1, this is the starting from theta mean. So this equation is replaced in this way. So this is my equation of temperature in case of intermittent load right now. Now at the fall of temperature rise, so this is the fall of temperature rise. So in that condition, this my initial value theta 1 is theta max. So this now this is 0 for cooling down, okay, because theta ss equals to 0. So theta minimum, the final value it is reaching. So theta minimum equals to theta max e to the power minus ts by tau s, because the time is in case of this is minus ts tau s, and I have mentioned the running time is tr. So this is my two equation. Now what I will do, I will combine these two equation, okay. So if we combine these two equation, what I will do that I will put the value of theta minimum in this equation, okay. So if I put the value of theta minimum, theta max will become theta ss 1 minus e to the power tr by tau r plus, in case of theta minimum we will put theta max e to the power minus ts by tau s, and there is another e to the power minus tr by ts there. So e to the power minus ts by tau s into e to the power minus tr by tau r. So it will become e to the power within bracket minus ts by tau r plus minus ts by tau s plus minus tr by tau r. This will become, so if this will become, so let me do a little bit of derivation here, okay. So let me do the derivation here. So what we will get that theta max equals to theta ss 1 minus e to the power minus tr by tau r plus theta max e to the power within bracket minus tr by tau r plus minus ts by tau s, okay. So now this is my equation. So from here we will say, I will bring this term to the left hand side, and this theta max I will take common. So theta max I will take common 1 minus e to the power minus tr by tau r plus ts by tau s with a minus sign, okay. And here it will become theta ss equals to 1 minus e to the power minus tr by tau r. So now we can get the value of theta max by theta ss equals to 1 minus e to the power minus tr by tau r divided by 1 minus e to the power this term minus tr by tau r plus minus ts by tau s. So this is my theta max by theta ss, or theta ss by theta max equals to, this will be the numerator and this will become to the denominator, okay. So now this is my theta ss by theta max. Okay. Now this is my maximum temperature for that intermittent load, but my maximum permissible temperature rise is theta permissible. So up to theta permissible we can utilize that motor. So for the theta par will be the motor temperature rise when it is subjected to a continuous rated load for PR. So if we have continuous duty cycle PR applied, then the temperature will go to theta par, but it will not cross theta par. So theta max by theta par equals to P1S by P1R, P1S by P1R. Why? Because further this theta par will be the motor temperature rise when it is subjected to a PR, and we know from our previous knowledge that this theta ss equals to P1 by D. Theta ss equals to P1 by D. We know this is we have deduced that when we have discussed about the thermal model of the motor for heating and cooling. Now from here we can say theta, the temperature is proportional to power loss. So for theta s the power loss is P1s. Okay, and for theta max it is P1R, or we can say that for the losses of for the full load value of PR and PR dash, we have taken that it will PR and then it will go up to PR dash, the maximum utilization PR dash. So in these two power PR and PR dash, the losses can be P1s and P1R respectively. So from here we can say that this is also theta is also proportional to P, so we can write theta 1 by theta 2 equals to P1 by P2. So that is what I have done here. So from here we will get the overloading power factor K for intermittent load. So this is my overloading factor. Okay, so I have no confusion, it's very easy. So let me solve one problem. Now a motor has a heating time constant of 60 minutes and cooling time constant 90 minutes when run continuously on full load of 20 kilowatt. The final temperature rise is 40 degree. Now when the load of the motor can deliver for 10 minutes, if it is followed by a shutdown period of long enough for it cool down, and if it is an intermittent load of 10 minutes followed by a 10-minute shutdown, what is the maximum value of load supply? So this is for short time duty, and this is for intermittent load, because there is a running period of 10 minutes and there is a rest period of 10 minutes, and for both the cases we know the value of K. So first short time duty, what is the value of K for short time duty? If we just reduce few minutes back, K equals to root over of 1 plus alpha by 1 minus e to the power tr by e to the power minus tr by tau minus alpha. So now alpha is 0. Now this alpha is 0 as the constant and copper loss are not available separately in this problem. The value is not given separately. So if the value is not given separately, then we discuss during the deduction of short time duty that total loss is assumed to be only proportional to the power square. So and the alpha term is 0, so put alpha here 0, so it will become this K equals to 1 by 1 minus 2 to the power minus t by r. Now 1 by 1 e to the power tr is 10 minutes and tau is heating period, that is constant 60 minutes. So we will get the value of K. Even if we get the value, we will multiply K with the load, that is my 20 kilowatt full load. So we will get the overloading capacity. Now second is for intermittent load, and for intermittent load I just reduce the value of K This is the value of k. So here also the I will put alpha equals to 0. So if we put alpha equals to 0, so k will become this, and again I will put the value of cooling constant, heating constant, cooling constant, both are time 10 seconds. So we'll get the value of permitted load of this intermittent load. Okay, so this is all about. So this is your workout problem. 2 and 3 you solve it by yourself. Okay, the answer of this is 25.14 kilowatt, and for this it is 48.37 kilowatt. Okay, and maximum temperature rise. Okay, so this is, so no, this is not 48.37. okay, so this answer is something other, because there is a trick. I am not going to tell this. You solve this, and if there is problem, you know my email ID, please contact me in this email ID. So I will give hint of this problem number 2. Okay, so problem number 2 says that half hour rating of motor is 100 kilowatt, heating time constant is 80, and maximum efficiency is 75% of the load. Determine the continuous rating of the motor. Now what I will do, now let's suppose we will take P as the P kilowatt is the continuous rating of the motor, and PC is the constant loss. Okay, now 70% of efficiency means at 7.3 what will happen? Maximum efficiency condition is PC equals to PCU, constant copper loss equals to variable constant core loss equals to variable copper loss. We know the condition of maximum efficiency, and that is occurring at 75%, and P is my kilowatt is my rating, so it is 0.7 P. PC equals to PCU. So at P we will get the value of, at P, so at P what is my constant loss will remain same. At P what will be my copper loss? It will be P by 0.7 P square, because power is proportional to current and copper loss is proportional to current square. So P by 0.7 square into PCU. So we will get the value, and if we get the value of PCU, we know alpha equals to PC by PCU. Alpha, the value of alpha we know, so we will get the value of alpha, and we will put the value in the equation of the K, which we have just derived few minutes back, and we will get the continuous rating. Okay, and the answer will be 48.37 kilowatt. Okay, and this will remain your homework. So this is all about my module number 2, selection of motor power rating. So if there is any queries, please feel free to contact with me. Okay, so thank you for today's lecture, and this is the references as I have mentioned earlier also. Thank you. So if